What is up, everybody? Back with a new video finally. I thought I would try to get things going again here with the end of the year lists. First thing being my Spotify Wrapped. You know, they do this thing at the end of every year. Goes through some pretty cool stats. I'm going to talk about my most listened to bands, my most listened to songs, how many minutes I listen to, tell y'all what podcasts I listen to, and some other stuff, which is pretty cool. I changed up the background flag. That is Satanic Warmaster, their album from last year, Omngander. My number one album. It's freaking amazing, so check that out if you like black metal. But yeah, so I'm going to do my end of the year lists. I'll do a top 10 black metal albums of 23 and a top 10 overall metal albums. You know, so those will be coming up in the next few weeks. But my Spotify Wrapped, to start it off, I've got my amount listened, which was 70,635 minutes. Pretty good bit. Listened to a lot of Spotify at work. It's the main thing I listen to. Like the main format of listening I do, just because it's easiest for me at work. I've got all the physical stuff as well. I've got like 1,000 albums on CD, cassette, vinyl, as y'all know. But 70,635 minutes of music listened to. My top genres, my number 5 on the year was glam metal. So still love the glam. I'm really into black metal now, of course, but still love those classic glam metal bands. Rat, Dokken, LA Gun, some of my favorites. Number 4, new wave of traditional heavy metal. You know, bands that are modern, that are going for that classic 80s metal feel. Skull Fist, Enforcer, are a couple of the, you know, the big names from that movement. Cauldron is another great one, but there's a lot of cool bands that have come out. Traveler, a more recent one, Riot City. So check all those out if you like just classic 80s metal. Dokken, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, things like that. Number 3, speed metal. So, I mean, I don't know how accurate this is, differentiating between speed and thrash, but I'm sure they were just counting it as speed metal. So, all that fast stuff, Exciter, Motorhead, Megadeth, things like that. Hard rock was my number 2. So, I think, again, here, it's kind of probably broad with Spotify, but Ted Nugent, they probably counted some of the glam stuff even as hard rock, like Kingdom Come or Great White. They're kind of borderline bands if you want to call them hard rock, glam, if you want to call them metal. But yeah, hard rock was number 2. And my number 1, of course, was black metal. Love black metal, of course. Ton of great bands from, you know, Norway, Finland, all over Europe mainly is where the best black metal comes from, but all over the world. It says I listened to 639 different artists, which is a pretty good bit. And then my top 5 songs. So my top 5 songs on the year, I've got Satanic Black Metal in Hell by Urgel. Great Norwegian black metal band. They kill it live, super extreme. They sound amazing, just very heavy. And that's a song from their 2006 album, Goatcraft Torment. Really amazing. Number 4, Baptized in Black Goat Blood by Inquisition. My favorite black metal band. Love these guys. Number 3, also another one from Inquisition, Crush the Jewish Prophet, both from their 2004 album, Magnificent Glorification of Lucifer. That's maybe my favorite album by them at this point. They've got a lot of killer ones, but that one is definitely in my top 3. And my number 2 and 1 were both by Satanic Warmaster from that album there, Omngander. Yeah, I don't know if I even pronounced that right, but Baphomet and Duke's Ride, both amazing songs. Baphomet, was the first single, and it's just absolutely mesmerizing, really amazing melody and riff, and Werewolf's vocals are insanely good, just mesmerizing stuff. And my top 5 bands on the year, my most listened to, I've got number 5 is Anthem. Great classic Japanese metal. For a long time, Loudness was my number 1 Japanese metal band, but as time's gone on, Anthem is just my clear-cut number 1 from Japan. These guys are insanely good. Akio Shimizu on guitar is just an absolute god. Mesmerizing guitar, solos, riffs. His tone is amazing. He's been with them since Domestic Booty in 1992, so he's on like 10 of their albums at this point, but killer guitar player. The new album from this year, really good as well. Number 4, Second to Sun, which is a black metal band from Russia. They've got a really cool sound, kind of atmospheric, very mesmerizing, melodic, very brutal and aggressive in spots as well. Really like these guys a lot. They've got a song called L, which is really cool. North Metal Legion, a couple of my standouts from them, but their modern stuff, their last couple of albums, just really awesome. Number 3, I've got Immortal. Love Immortal. Got them on the shirt here. Killer classic Norwegian black metal band. They've got a lot of great albums, of course. Number 2, Satanic Warmaster. Listened to them a ton this year. Saw them live. Just killer band. I also shook Werewolf's hand at Steelfest. Went over there with my girlfriend. Just amazing fest. And Satanic Warmaster is one of the best bands I've ever seen live. Just absolutely mind-blowing. And number 1, Inquisition. I mean, if you followed along, I would do this similar thing at the end of each month for a while. I started doing it like every other month for this little end of the month thing I would do. And Inquisition was always up there at the top for like my most listened to of the month. So no surprise that they are number 1 on the year. But that's most of the stuff I got to go through, and also the podcasts. I forgot. I told you I'll tell you what podcasts I listen to. So my number 5 most listened to podcast on the year, because a lot of times at work I will also listen to podcasts just to pass the time. I got Supernatural Then and Now, which is like a re-watch podcast. So these guys, 2 guys from the show, Richard Spade Jr. and Rob Benedict, they were pretty key characters in the show, which this is my favorite show, so I'm kind of a nerd about it. But there were 2 key characters. I won't say who they were just because I don't want to spoil things, but they are watching each episode of the show, then talking about each episode. So I've watched through the series like 6 times, so just listening to them talk about it. They have guests, like they had Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki, who are Sam and Dean, on Supernatural on a couple of the episodes, and just different people that were in each episode. So if you like Supernatural, listen to that. Number 4, Believing the Bizarre, which paranormal and conspiracies, they talk about like Bigfoot and shit. It's kind of stupid, but interesting to listen to also. Number 3, the Wild Times podcast, which is like a nature and outdoor podcast with this guy, Forrest Galante. He's a wildlife biologist. He's been on Joe Rogan's podcast a couple of times. He's on Extinct or Alive on Animal Planet. So a lot of interesting stuff. They talk about just different adventures they've been on and where they go around the world to check out wildlife stuff, Alaska, Asia in certain parts, and wherever else they go. Number 2, Bad Friends, which is a comedy podcast with Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino, 2 comedians. They are wild. They're just crazy. 2 of the best comedians going right now. They're hilarious. And number 1, Joe Rogan, the Joe Rogan Experience. He's got like an insane range of guests, anybody from The Rock to random scientists and biologists, political people, different comedians, actors, musicians. He's had Dave Mustaine, James Hetfield, so there's some metal stuff even on there. But that is what I've been listening to throughout the year, podcasts and music. And as I said, guys, I will try to be a little bit more consistent with the uploads. I've got like 10 albums I can do a collection update on. I'm going to do a top 10 black metal and a top 10 overall metal albums from 2023 as well. But let me know in the comments if you use Spotify, or if you just want to let me know some of the most listened to stuff, you know, what you think you listen to the most of in the comments. Let me know. And as usual, y'all, until next time, thanks for watching.